Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Friday, August 16th, 2024. Fire potential impacts for the next few days are shown here. For today, we're mainly looking at wind over western and southern Nevada and some gusty winds up into the central Idaho mountains here. We may also see a stray storm or two in the northern central Idaho mountains today. For Saturday, the winds increase and expand across a larger area and up into western Idaho in northwest Nevada. We also see a return of moisture to Utah with some wet and heavy storms possible in central and eastern portions of the state. And then on Sunday, we see winds continuing in Idaho and into Nevada, and then another round of showers and thunderstorms in Utah and up into southeast Idaho and possibly western Wyoming. Okay, yesterday was a fairly active day for some storms in Idaho, mainly the central Idaho mountains and into eastern Idaho and western Wyoming. The storms in the eastern half of the state were on the wetter side with some drier type storms in western Idaho. Great Basin fire activity is shown here with 18 new fires for 67 acres in the past 24 hours, and our large fire growth was just over 3,500 acres. Precipitation is shown here for the past 14 days on the left. We can see we have seen that monsoonal surge up into Utah over the past week or so with some pretty good precipitation totals, drier in mainly western Idaho and Nevada. If we look at the 30-day percent of normal, we can also see that Utah has seen much above normal precipitation in the last 30 days and also some areas along the southern Idaho border with some drier spots there in the central Idaho mountains and of course western and southern Nevada. Current ERC values are shown here, and we can see these values are doing a pretty good job of showing us where our main areas of concern for large fire potential currently exist. Pretty low values are observed over eastern Idaho, western Wyoming, and across much of Utah with day after day of precipitation there in the past week or so. And then further west, we see some higher values along the Sierra Front. Our highest values exist with the drier air over there, and then also northern Nevada and into southwest Idaho. The higher elevations of the central Idaho mountains here are kind of a mixed bag. Some stations have seen some precip there in the past few days, but overall a drier pattern has been in place in western and southwest Idaho. Okay, this morning's satellite imagery is shown here. We have a large area of low pressure over the Pacific Northwest and a high pressure located to the south and east of the Great Basin. This is really combining to create wind into much of Nevada and portions of Idaho over the next few days, and then we will see some moisture surge back up into Utah over the next few days as well. Taking a look at smoke for this afternoon, not too much smoke from our neighbors moving in to the area today. Most of the smoke is the fires that are burning in the central Idaho mountains, clearing across much of eastern Idaho and Utah and Nevada. More of the same tomorrow, even better clearing as that southerly and southwest flow really kicks in and clears out the air. So for today, again, we have the low pressure located off the Pacific coast and high pressure to our south and east. So we have high risk issued for winds for portions of western and southern Nevada. Closer look at those winds, gusting to 30 to 35 miles an hour across southern Nevada and into parts of western Utah as well. But recent precipitation there makes the fire environment a little bit less critical. Relative humidity shown on the right. RHs are pretty low across much of Nevada and even into western Utah. Higher RHs across the north. More of the same is expected on Saturday as that low pressure really strengthens off the coast, and we see the high pressure ridge build a little bit further south and west towards the Great Basin. So we have winds increasing. Saturday will most likely be the windiest day. We have high risk for all of Nevada and into portions of southern Idaho and even the higher elevations of western Idaho for some breezy winds along the ridge tops there. And then we see the moisture returning to Utah for increasing showers and thunderstorms across much of the state. Closer look at those winds here. Winds gusting to 40 to 45 miles an hour possible over portions of central and eastern Nevada and maybe along the Sierra Front as well. Breezy winds in Idaho aren't really reflected well here, but do expect to see some gustier winds along the ridge tops in Idaho. And then in Utah, we can see the moisture returning back to the state pretty much everywhere with heavy precip totals possible under some of those stronger thunderstorms. On Sunday, the winds continue across Nevada and up into the higher elevations of Idaho, and we see showers and thunderstorms continuing over Utah and possibly up into southeast Idaho as well. So again, those winds shown here, gusty across Nevada and up into portions of Idaho as well, and then showers and thunderstorms across much of Utah, up into southeast Idaho and western Wyoming on Sunday. Gusty outflow winds expected with those showers and thunderstorms in Utah. 3-day precip totals are shown here. This shows a very strong return of monsoonal moisture to Utah for Saturday into Sunday, and then, of course, up into eastern Idaho and western Wyoming by Sunday. On Monday, that low pressure trough is still sitting off the Pacific coast, so we're still going to see breezy winds across mainly Nevada, and then moisture still in place over Utah and up into southeast Idaho and western Wyoming. For kind of, again, the tale of two cities with higher fire danger in the west and lower fire danger in the east. Pattern holds into Tuesday. Continue to see dry air over western Idaho and Nevada with higher relative humidity and still some chances of showers and thunderstorms into Utah and eastern Idaho, western Wyoming. And more of the same into Wednesday. That trough starts to move inland a little bit. We may pick up a little bit of tropical moisture in the flow up into Utah and clipping southern Nevada as well. So still showing two different weather patterns with dry breezy in the west and higher relative humidity and precipitation in the east. And that continues through Thursday as well. So the 7-day precip total really tells the story. Plenty of precip coming up into Utah, southeast Idaho, and western Wyoming starting tomorrow, with drier conditions in the west, including western Nevada and western Idaho. The extended forecast puts the bullseye of heat over the south and west, keeping things warm over the Great Basin, and then we see the above normal precipitation trend continuing over the Pacific Northwest, not doing too much for Idaho, and then just a much smaller area of above normal precip into eastern Utah. And this concludes today's fire potential briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.